Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the retail version of the abxylute handheld gaming device. Now I've done a couple videos on this. It was announced a few months ago and they were kind enough to send over a prototype. I did a couple videos on it. If you're interested in checking those out, you can just kind of search through YouTube. But this is the final retail version. They offered two different color variants. We've got a black and obviously we've got the white here. I personally think it looks really good and it definitely has a beautiful display. One thing that I do like about this company is whenever I ran into a bug with the prototype that I was messing around with, I contacted them. Within a few days, they did have a fix released for it. So, with the prototype, I went through a lot of updates. And with this one here, I do need to update it fully. And if you're not familiar with the abxylute handheld, basically what we have here is a 7-inch handheld streaming/gaming device powered by Android. And they do have a Kickstarter going right now. I'll leave a link to this and their official website. It's got a 7-inch 1080p LTPS display with an aspect ratio of 16:9. You can get around 8 hours of gameplay out of this thing. Really built for streaming. It's got really nice MIMO Wi-Fi 5 built in, gyroscope, dual vibration motors, dual front-facing stereo speakers, Hall sensor-based analog sticks, and overall, for a little streaming device, for a cheaper streaming device, it's actually really nice. Think Logitech G Cloud, but with a lower price tag. Okay, so I'm fully updated here. I actually had to go through 3 different OTAs, and it is an OTA. You don't have to download anything and then transfer it over. We've got a full update center here, and it's definitely a lot smoother than it was with the prototype. They've added a lot of great new features. They've updated some stuff here. And one of the main things that I personally didn't have access to on the prototype was Google Play, but it's here. So in the retail version, you will have access to Google Play. I kind of relied on side-loading things in the past with the prototype, but now we've got full access here. And I will tell you, this is using a quad-core CPU. It's not the most powerful device on the market, so lower-end games will function well, but don't expect to run Genshin Impact on this. After all, it was really designed to be a streaming device, and it handles that really well. Steam Link, Moonlight, GeForce Now, you want to do some Xbox Game Pass, you could do Shadow if you wanted to. Any kind of streaming app that we can run on Android will function on this device. Now, of course, if you don't want to use Google Play for some reason, you can always sideload apps, but they also have their abxylute Essentials pack. So from here, we can re-download these streaming applications. We've got Moonlight, Luna, GeForce Now, Game Pass, Xbox, Steam Link, and PS Play, so we can stream from our PS4 or PS5. So it's really great to have this. This is going to download from their server, and it will be an updated version, just in case you don't want to use Google Play or have to go through the hassle of sideloading it. Another thing that's been added and updated to the retail unit is color changing function buttons. So this is pretty cool. From the settings, we've got a bunch of different colors that we can change these buttons. They're all backlit. As you can see, we can just go through the list here. And in the past, they did have kind of a little color wheel, but it wasn't too accurate. So right now, the way it is we've got kind of set colors that we can set up with these function buttons. Just adds a little extra to the whole unit itself. It's not going to up your performance at all, but I think it looks really cool. So one of the main reasons I really wanted to take a look at this again was just to test out some native Android games. Now, in the past with my other videos, we did test a few, but there were some games that I didn't have access to, given that they needed Google Play services to function correctly. Like one of my favorites here, Stardew Valley, easier to run game, built-in controller worked, didn't need to do any kind of updating. And I'm not sure if it's coming across on camera, but this screen is really, really nice. It's not an AMOLED or an OLED. It's a 7-inch LTPS at 1920 by 1080 with a 16:9 aspect ratio, and I think it looks amazing. Colors really pop on this display. Here's Real Racing 3, and again, I didn't have to do any kind of setup with the controller. As long as the game you want to play natively supports a controller on Android, you can use the built-in controls, or you can use the built-in key mapper. So if you do find a game you want to play with a controller, but it doesn't really support it, you can map on-screen touch points to these physical buttons. And of course, the final one we're going to test here is Minecraft. This was definitely a must. Now, I know it's an easier to run game, been on the market for a very long time, but as you can see, it does run it quite well. And out of the box, this is set at 8 chunks. I do have fancy graphics on, and with fancy graphics off, you can up the frame rate. But with it set up like this, it's actually a pretty enjoyable experience. But first and foremost, this is advertised as a game streaming device, so let's go ahead and test out some Game Pass or some Xbox Cloud Gaming. We'll go with Dirt 5. And I am connected to my home network, which is pretty fast. This has Wi-Fi 5 built in. It would have been really nice if it was Wi-Fi 6, but this is MIMO Wi-Fi 5, so the connection is way more stable. Really nice little setup. And when it comes to cloud gaming, your internet connection is going to be very important. So with something like GeForce Now or Xbox Game Pass, Xbox Cloud Gaming like we're using right now, having that stable connection is very, very important. But one of my favorite things to use a device like this for is actually Steam Link or Moonlight to stream from my own home PC. You're going to be on the same network, so you don't have to rely on a server thousands of miles away, get a little bit of input lag. With my setup, I can actually stream at 120 FPS 1080p, but we've only got a 60 Hz display, so it's not going to make a huge difference. I also wanted to test out one fighting game here, still on Xbox Game Pass. We've got Mortal Kombat 11. And I will admit, if you wanted to play competitively online over the cloud, that's not what you want to do. But if you wanted to play for fun against the CPU, then yeah, you could definitely have a good time with it. There's a little bit of input latency here, so, playing competitively just really isn't going to work out. And that's where kind of Moonlight or Steam Link would come in. So yeah, over the past month or so, I've been using this quite a bit. Well, not this one, the prototype that I have. Basically just to stream from my own PC while I'm laying in bed, and I've had a great time with it. You can get around 8 hours of battery life out of this thing. I think they've done a great job, and it is coming in cheaper than some of the other options on the market, but it's not for everybody. This isn't something you specifically pick up for native Android games. Like I mentioned, playing Genshin Impact on this really isn't going to work out very well, given that we only have that quad-core CPU. But if you know what you're getting into, and you're looking for a cheaper option than the other ones on the market right now, then the abxylute might be for you. I think it's a pretty good setup, and for their first device, they've done an amazing job. And so far, the software support here has been top notch. Now, I know they're still trying to work out the kinks and everything like that because it's still up on Kickstarter. But, every time I've reported a bug to them, it's been fixed within a few days, given one of their new OTA updates. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I wanted to give you a look at this retail unit and show you some native Android games running on it. If you're interested in learning a little more, I'll leave a link to the Kickstarter and their official website. And if you have any questions, let me know down below. But like always, thanks for watching.